All right, girls. We're gonna just take a quick moment. We're really gonna focus on just one moment in the game, and I think it's really reflective of the entire game. So, as we talked about the game, I thought our inability to solve their pressure was the root of many of our struggles in the game. Um, so as we discussed a little bit more post game was that we hadn't spent a lot of time recently on these solutions on how to solve the pressure, and we have our own limitations in the dome with space and creating realistic pictures, but the tighter field and the aggressive high press from MTA did provide us a lot of struggles. So I think it's a good learning opportunity because that's the only thing that we can really do at this point. I'm going to play the example, and all I really want you to do is not focus purely on the ball. I think it's important that you examine the field, examine the space and where it's at, examine where the other players are positioned, our players, and then obviously examine where the defenders are positioned. All right, so we'll create hopefully an easier visual here of what was going on. We'll start from MTA's front three and what they were focused on. So their front three really matched up with our back three. If we included Ava in the picture, we have a 4v3, but in the moment and where we're at as a team, we really struggled, despite that extra player, to deal with MTA's aggression and speed on their press. As we look up the field, MTA's attacking mids, their 8 and 10 matched up with our holding mids. At halftime, I did talk with Luca and Vivi a little bit about the different ways that they can free themselves. So we talked about interchange, which would be just change positions. They can change across the field. They could even switch with our attacking mids. We haven't got that far. Or they could drop a little bit deeper, closer to the ball, trying to pull those defenders out of the space and free some more room with their attacking mids. And this is something that we'll work on more as the training evolves through the season. And then finally, something that I think we didn't notice early enough, and something that we'll see here, is MTA's outside backs really jumped high to press our wing backs. So we really were able to get their wing backs pulled out, which gave us some space. So given all that, where do you think the free space is to play? And obviously the image gives you some ideas. And that's all we're asking is, can we recognize it? Again, back to the same moment with some more added details. A reminder is the point of our expansive, so a big shape, width, depth, players up the field, is we want to really make it harder for the opposition's defenders to cover us and cover the space. And I think some of our positioning allowed MTA's aggressive and athletic players to cover two players by themselves. And that is something that obviously we want to do. So in the moment that we've highlighted with the arrow with Emma, she's a little bit deeper. And yes, the right back pulls and follows, and it frees a ton of space up the field, but we didn't recognize it. And then the right back now is able to obviously defend Emma. And then if we tried to play out to Cece, who's our left wing back, she could get out and defend that as well. And we've also allowed them to really keep those first two lines, their strikers and their midfielders, really tight and make it tough for us to play. So as it's indicated, we want Emma to move higher up the field. And all that's going to do is make the right back make a choice. She's either going to leave Emma alone, so now we have Emma in space to play, or she's going to drop off, and now maybe Cece has a little bit more room, and maybe Viv can have a little bit more room to get on the ball. It's just forcing a decision. So it's something that we've talked about, but it's good to see. Then obviously, from the little mind bubble for Ava and Lindsay as goalkeepers is this is what they're examining when they're on the ball. And I think we're not there yet, and it's going to take time, but you're really trying to pick out where the space is. You're trying to read the numbers and recognize, in this case, it's really tough for us to have success given all the amount of numbers they have higher up the field. And what we're going to end on is a good example and how we were able to find some of that space. So this is from Western Wisconsin. I think it's good to note that our field at the St. Croix Rec is bigger, so we have a little bit more width, which makes the spaces easier, and it makes it easier for us to find. But the important thing is Western Wisconsin was chasing the game, so they went a little bit more higher. So their players were up the field higher, and they were man marking our central players. So very similar to MTA in that fact. So we'll let it run. So instead of on a goal kick, Ava's made the save. She drops the ball. She's looking at. You can see Western Wisconsin tightening up, trying not to give us the short pass, which is fine. Which now creates that space there. And now Kendall is able to receive. And now we're a little bit more composed. We've moved up the field. And, we're able to progress in a more controlled manner. Looked a lot less panicked and we're a lot more calm on the ball. And look at us, we're continuing to move up the field. And outside of a decision there, it's a really good moment. So girls, the big thing is, we just have to continue to examine these, train it, and then see it more in games. But yeah, I just really wanted to highlight this one moment because I think it represented a lot of the moments in the game where we struggled.